Comes out, this is stainless steel from about 1903, I believe. Next item that he recommended, just behind that, on the belt was a... Hello, welcome to WayPoint Survival. Today, we're gonna talk about Horace Kephart's 1919 belt rig loadout. You're gonna like it, stay tuned. In 1919, Horace Kephart wrote an article for Forest and Stream magazine, which later on became Field and Stream, which we still have today. And in it, he writes about a gear loadout, both for a man and for a woman. And just to give you a little heads up, we're getting ready to go down into North Carolina in the next couple of weeks and do an overnight camp out in one of Horace Kephart's favorite spots. We're going to be pulling all the gear together and we're going to show you what that looks like. We're also going to do a separate video with the pack loadout, and I think you're going to find that interesting as well. So make sure you stay tuned to the channel, click on those videos and share them and help us get the word out there. Again, it is much appreciated. In this particular article that Horace Kephart wrote about what he would carry, he talked about specifically what would be carried on the belt, both on the left side as well as the right side. So I've put those items together. Let's get to that right now. Now, the first thing that Horace Kephart said you needed for this belt kit was a separate sturdy leather belt. Now, he also would wear a cloth belt, much like this one, and also suspenders, and we will be doing a separate video on how to dress like Horace Kephart, showing you some of the unique things that he used, like these suspenders. We'll talk more about that a little bit later. But I want to show you some of the stuff that he would wear and use and how to wear it and use it so that we can more precisely not only copy and emulate, but also as a study of living history to find out exactly how it was that they camped and lived back in their day. The first item that you will notice is the sheath knife, located between the pocket and the belt so that a person could still get their hands in the pockets. And there are several things that he did carry. He wasn't fond of carrying a lot of things in his pockets, but there are some items that he did specifically mention. So this, of course, is the Kephart sheath knife. Many of you are familiar with this. This is a new knife. It's a reproduction. I have aged it and modified it to make it look appropriate so that it fits in there. And this is a very old sheath, and one thing that's nice about this is the way that it's designed is it can fit in there right or left, so it doesn't matter if you're righty or lefty. This sheath will accommodate the blade quite well, and it holds it nice and firm. The next item that he carried was a leather holster for his clips, or we would call them magazines today, and there's two here. The one that he carried actually had three. It's a little divot here. You can get in there and pull them out. It's not a quick thing, but there they are. Goes back in like that. And then some sturdy snaps to hold them in place. Before we go any farther, I'd like to take just a moment and remind you to go to our website, waypointsurvival.com, and sign up for our brand new newsletter. You're gonna like it. It's gonna come once a week, every Tuesday morning at 8 o'clock. There's a lot of great information, and it will enable me to stay in touch with you a little bit better, let you know what's going on with the school, as well as the trips and the travels and things that I'm engaged in throughout the week. So make sure and sign up for that. The next item that he carried in a sturdy leather pouch was a Kodak camera. You can see that. So you push the button here, this opens up, and then the camera pulls out. It can be a little stubborn. This one's stuck sometimes. There we go. And of course you would put your film in it and then take your pictures. Now, photography was a burgeoning thing back in that day, and later on George Massa went with him all over the place, and they trekked many, many miles through the hills and the valleys and the mountains of the Great Smokies, taking pictures and photographs. But this would be something like what Horace Kephart would have carried, as he took a lot of photographs himself. The next item that he carried was his emergency pouch. This is on the right hip, and I've showed you this before, so I won't show you all the details of everything that's in it, but I'll give you a brief rundown. First of all, we have a sharpening stone and a small fishing kit with a hook attached, sinker, and a bobber made out of a cork. So that would stay in there, and that keeps that from getting all over the other gear. Also have a drinking cup. Comes out, this is stainless steel from about 1903, I believe. Little handle folds in and out. And a lid. We also have the 5-ounce emergency tin. This is a Bower & Black World War I first aid kit. Also in here, in a soap dish, aluminum soap dish, we have some extra buttons on a safety pin. We have some oil-o-sol. This is a vintage antiseptic, basically. Stub of a pencil. A very small notebook for taking notes or drawing pictures of plants and things like that. And then inside of here is the needle and thread. Kept safely inside there. That packs away pretty nice. Next we have a waxed canvas bag, and this is just for waterproofness. And inside of this we just have some tinder, some things that he would use, some birch bark and some fat wood and fire starting materials. That would be very important, of course, anytime you're on the trail and you want to keep it in a semi-waterproof pouch. Back in the day they didn't have quite the waterproof things we do, so this would work, this waxed cotton or waxed canvas. Next would be a ball of waxed twine for doing repairs or setting up trot lines or anything like that if you had extra hooks. We also have a compass. This would be an important thing to carry, and it has a locking needle. So you push this here and it keeps the needle from rotating while you're hiking. Lock that in. Keep that with you. And last but not least, we have extra matches. Quite a lot of them. See right there? And the heads are down so that we don't touch it with damp fingers. And there's a striker paper in there as well. The very last item that he recommended on the right side, he liked to carry a .22 automatic. And looking back in the time, somewhere about 1915, 1916, Colt came out with the Colt Woodsman .22 caliber automatic. And he said it needed to be carried in a flap holster. This protects it from brush and from trees, and when you sit down, you lean against something, you're scraping around, this can keep it much more protected than just one that sticks to the outside. And so here we have our Colt Woodsman. And so that's something that he would have carried and recommended for someone on their belt kit, not only for protection, but really for small game that he would be able to get, or the person that was putting this kit together would be able to get when they were out in the backcountry. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this little video and another trip into the past as we look at what Horace Kephart would have carried back in the 19-teens and 20s and on up into the early 1930s when he passed away. I find it interesting. I think it's fascinating to hold and use the gear that our ancestors used, the people that wrote the books that we learn from today. So thanks again for watching, and make sure and stay tuned for the next few videos. We've got some fascinating stuff on the way. This is James Bender for WayPoint Survival. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Also make sure and check out the links in the description box below, just under the More button. While you're down there, you'll find the link for our WayPoint Survival digital class. This is where you can sign up to train in the comfort and convenience of your own backyard, the top 20 skills that we consider to be the most important from our Phase 1 Survival and Bushcraft class. You'll also find our WayPointSurvival.com link, and this is where you can sign up not only for in-person classes at our beautiful training facility here in Southern Ohio, but you can also sign up for our weekly newsletter. And you want to get on that mailing list. There's some really great stuff already been posted and more on the way. And if you haven't done so, please subscribe to the channel. We'd really appreciate it. And when you do subscribe, make sure and press that bell button so that you can stay notified of all of our upcoming videos, and we'll talk to you next time.